Harry and Meghan lash out because they don't get their own way the whole time. She is a grifter. She wants fame for her own ego. To put this into perspective, at a time I did look after Katie Price. This PR disaster is worse. There is no one, no PR on the globe, on planet Earth that could fix this.
How Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have become the worst example of PR and PR gone wrong in not just the history of the royal family, but the history of Hollywood, showbiz, entertainment, and Madison Avenue as well. Joining me now is Lauren the Insider. She is now a prominent royal YouTube sensation, but for nearly 2 decades was one of the top PR operatives operating behind the scenes in the British industry. Lauren, have you ever seen a PR disaster more catastrophic than Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, especially when you look at the Duke of Delusion, once so popular, Lauren, that YouGov even had him in the United Kingdom at least outpolling the late Queen Elizabeth II. He was just looking at the numbers more popular than his grandmother. Now, so despised, so hated, so toxic that brands and streamers and event companies don't even want to touch him. Is there anything comparable to this in PR history?
To put this into perspective, at a time I did look after Katie Price. This PR disaster is worse. There is no one, no PR on the globe, on planet Earth that could fix this. And I said, when Meredith Maines joined the team, everyone said, oh, are they suddenly going to get good PR? And I said, you will see favours pulled in here and there, and you will see them leaking to a few chosen media outlets. But they will never rewrite the narrative. And what we have seen is exactly what I said would happen over 6 months ago. And the reason they will never, ever be able to turn it around is because at the crux of it, they are greedy. They want so much money and they won't put the work in to do that. And when you are building a business, you're also building a relationship with the public. And they have not earned their stripes. They have not put that work in to demand that the public choose their brand or them over someone else. So, for example, we've had Martha Stewart work for decades. She has created an incredible brand that has taken years and years. And within that, she has probably lost money, earned money, and she's really created something amazing. With Meghan Markle, she left the royal family and they were just running, looking for those pound signs. And that is incredibly grifty. They also, I believe, pay a lot of people for PR and they have managers and aides. But I can tell you they are not taking any of this advice because the pedigree of the very people they attract, they are good. They are not getting scraping the barrel type PRs. So if you look at Emily Robinson, for example, who left after 3 months, Emily was a very, very good PR. We can't dislike her just because she took a job with Meghan and Harry, and she had previously overseen The Crown for Netflix. Now, The Crown is a global money spinner. A lot of Netflix's positioning and perception rested on The Crown. Emily was in charge of all of the cast and had a huge role on this. She's a very, very good PR. For someone like Emily Robinson to go into that job and not only leave after 3 months, which was never the plan because we went through the PR Week release and the Newsweek release and everything like that, things are really, really bad. And so with Meghan and Harry, what we see is every time there is something that doesn't fit their narrative, they bite back. And you can't do that in PR. So you either play the game or you don't. And by this, I mean, sadly, when you are relying on the mainstream media, you have to get on with it sometimes and you have to pick your battles. What you can't do is be suing some of the media and then demanding with the other hand that they do this, that they do that. And so Harry and Meghan sweat the small stuff all the time. And they like to use the mainstream media stage to go into battle with the mainstream media. And their PRs will be pulling their hairs out because this is so stressful. There is no strategy that can work with Harry and Meghan because there's a disconnect. So everything you're seeing is absolutely built on sand. We've gone through it all. We've torn it apart. I mean, it's been joyous, but it's all a facade. It's smoke and mirrors. And Meghan lies. That's a fact. And you can't lie in this day and age when people are trying to build PR strategies. The world is full of incredible online sleuths that can find out the truth like that and are better than any investigative journalist in the mainstream
Dan
media.
Wootton is joined by Lauren the Insider, one of London's most respected PR figures with over 2 decades at the top of the industry, to lift the lid on what's really going wrong behind Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's media operation. Once marketed as global changemakers, the Sussex brand is now facing growing criticism, from inconsistent messaging to public backlash that refuses to die down. Tonight, Lauren explains why this isn't just bad luck or media bias, but a deeply flawed PR strategy that's actively damaging their credibility.
Lauren, how do you deal with a client who lies? Is there a moral line where as a PR you say, you're lying to me, I can't stay working for you? And could that explain why there have been so many PR departures? Or is the job of a PR to actually take your client's lies and work with it? Because, I mean, I know over the years I've had so many PRs lie to me, including Harry and Meghan's own courtiers when they were in the British royal family.
I think being a PR is much like being a lawyer when you are representing someone that might be guilty, for example, and your job is to do the best you can do with what you've got. And so I would imagine that the PRs, because there has been such a high turnover, they're not being allowed to do their job, Dan. They can't be, because you don't leave after 3 months. It just doesn't happen at all. And so they will be trying to build a strategy. But I believe Meghan goes direct to some of the journalists. If I look at the proof of how badly things are running, a PR just simply wouldn't operate like this. And so when you are faced with a client that lies to you, and I have done this many, many times, it's absolutely awful because you're having to deny things that you know are true. But as a PR, you have to get into the zone that you're going into battle every day. And your sole job is to protect that client. If you have to lie to protect that client, that is what you have to do. If you have to bend the truth, if you have to put false news out, that is what you do. And this is why I believe we have seen such a high turnover, because working for Harry and Meghan, we know it's not a nice working environment. Because let's just use another example. Prince William and Princess Catherine, They have had the same nanny since Prince George was 8 months old. If you compare that to Harry and Meghan, look at the vast staff turnover, and it's always someone else's fault, or they're always so keen to spin the narrative. And again, this is why they will never, ever build businesses that will stand the test of time. They will never have a consistently positive and strong profile within the media, because millions and millions of people around the world can go and fact check what they say. And we see that it's absolute lies that they're putting out. And then you see, for example, they're working with The Sun. So we know that Harry and Meghan are evidently working with The Sun, because when Meghan's film role, which, you know, we're all praying is non-verbal or at the most a few lines, when that came out, The Sun ran the most ludicrous front page. It was a full front page about Meghan's back to acting, you know, Hollywood career. They could have only got this coverage from Meghan's PR. So they are working with the same media that they're then hitting out with the next day. And that goes back to the very point when I said, you will see little spikes of good pieces here and there, but nothing that is ever going to stand the test of time. And that is why I don't think Harry and Meghan will come back here permanently, because it's not compatible with their egos. If you were in America, there are lots more media outlets. You know, in the UK, it's a small pool of media. They've sued most of them, and Harry's in you know, going to trial with another in the new year.
Yeah, but that's why I think The Sun, my former newspaper, are traitors for now going to try and work with the enemy. Harry and Meghan want them dead, want them destroyed, want them locked up. And I mean, you were just talking about the nanny, right? William, and the fact that William and Catherine have had this one nanny. And it got me thinking of a story that I wrote when I was still at The Sun as executive editor back in 2019. Look at this, Nanny Mc3. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry get through 3 nannies in 6 weeks. Now, Lauren, don't you think that's the type of exclusive that The Sun should be trying to break today rather than this PR bullshit? Because to me, that story was so indicative. Now, obviously, I'm a totally fair journalist. I, of course, spoke to Harry and Meghan's team within the royal family at that point. Remember, they were still courtiers. And I was happy to listen to the explanation. And the explanation was like, oh, one of these nannies was terrible. You know, they fell asleep and, you know, all of these horror stories, right? But it adds to an overall picture. If this were a one-off, then of course you could understand, okay, maybe you had a bad run. You had a bad run getting through 3 nannies in 6 weeks. But actually, we know it isn't about the nannies. We know it's about the way that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle behave. It's very indicative. So I think it's quite treacherous of The Sun to play that PR game with Harry and Meghan when they should be trying to reveal true stories. And it was also particularly treacherous because you'll remember with the example that you used, Lauren, and I haven't forgotten it, what it did was push William, Prince William, off the front pages on the most important day of the year for him, which was his Earthshot Prize in Brazil, where he had all of those celebrities lined up, the likes of Kylie Minogue and Shawn Mendes on the red carpet. And that was all to appeal to a newspaper like The Sun, a newspaper who he has built up a close relationship with via its editor, Victoria Newton. And that was a betrayal. And I think it's really terrible. I think given Harry and Meghan want to actually destroy anyone who reports the truth about them, not just in the mainstream media, but in the independent media as well, it's so wrong. If I got some type of lie sent to me by Harry and Meghan, I would not just regurgitate it. No way.
According to Lauren, successful PR is about discipline, clarity, and timing. 3 things the Sussex camp continues to get wrong. From explosive interviews to legal threats and endless anonymous briefings, the couple's media approach has created confusion, fatigue, and distrust among the British public. Instead of controlling the narrative, they've allowed critics to define it, turning sympathy into scepticism and headlines into ridicule.